Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll start at the 12.
Shall we start?
2 more minutes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Dear participants, I welcome you all for the second session of our fourth day Atal sponsored online FPP on blockchain. Now, the session is handled by Dr. Mahib N. Batre. He's going to handle the topic on application of blockchain technology in banking system for financial services. Sir, Mahib sir, the forum is open to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Just wait a minute. I will. Once again, I welcome you all. Again, today, now we will discuss on this concept. I think my screen is visible to all of you. Okay. Now, in this session of this AICT FDP, I will discuss about the what are the applications of a blockchain technology in the banking system as well as in the for the various financial services which is going to be provided by the banking system. Okay. So, in upcoming years, blockchain will spread exponentially for the financial industry. The industry is also investigating the exponential use of this blockchain instances. Okay, so blockchain is just not about blockchain is just not about Bitcoin, but there is a lot more to yet to be found in the field of this blockchain technology if you are dealing with the financial services in the banking system. So, as per the word, I will discuss some code which is given by some author on with respect to the blockchain technology in financial services. So, in the world of Oliver Daniel will say that who is working in the blockchain technology, he is having some quote. So, blockchain technology is a form of digitized, decentralized public record of all cryptocurrency transactions. Blockchain was designed to record not just financial related information, but virtually everything of value. So whatever the thing whatever the thing that was done in the field of this banking system, so there is one of the most important role played by the blockchain technology to think about the whatever the information that we are having, or if you want to provide the security to a systems, how we can provide the security with the help of this cryptographic hash function. So blockchain is a digital transaction record. The name is derived from its structure, in which whatever the individual records that we are having, these individual records in the banking systems are going to be considered as a block. We already discussed about what is block and what is node in the previous session. Okay, so this whatever the blocks records that we are having, that records are going to be considered as a block, and all these blocks are connected together in a single list called as chain. That's why we are dealing with the blockchain. Okay, so this blockchain are used to record the transactions made with what we can say, made with the cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, and it has many other applications in the field of the blockchain technology if you are doing the banking system. So in simple terms, blockchain is a method for managing and storing the information in such a way that it can makes it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the network. So as we know that whenever we deal with the banking system, most of the time we have to deal with the network, and most of the time in our mind, whenever we deal with the transactions, we have to thought that whether our transaction is going to be done in a proper way or not. So that's why we are going to take the help of this blockchain, where it can useful for whether this blockchain technology is useful for managing and storing the information in such a way that no third party or intruder can hack or cheat the network. So basically, blockchain technology is nothing but it is the digital transaction record that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of a computer system on the blockchain. So whatever the banking sectors that we are having, okay, so the banking sectors are moving from traditional methods of securities to higher technical securities now. Okay, so industry has started different types of experiments with the help of this blockchain technology, where they can replicating the current assets of transactions on the blockchain. Okay, so they are doing the duplications, and they are also checking the replications of the different types of assets on the banking system, and they check whether there is a problem or not. Okay, so if they don't have any problem, then they are going for the implementation of the banking blockchain technology in the field of banking sectors. Okay, so in if I'm going to talk about the in terms of infrastructure, this blockchain is an open source software that is going to be designed to support the transfer of digital assets among market participants in the real time. Using any, if you are want to choose any blockchain APIs, one may demonstrate a drastic decrease in the asset that is going to be related with the transfer of cost and the related with the timelines that we are having. Okay, so the main advantage of blockchain technology in the banking sectors are that it can improve the efficiency, it can also enhance the security, it can also consist of unchangeable records by doing the quick transaction in minimum amount of time, and no third party can involve, and any type of data is going to be hacked in the banking sectors. So if you want to talk the role of this blockchain in the banking systems, so this blockchain technology provides, whether my screen is visible to all of you or hello? Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because my side it is not visible. Again, I am stopped representing. I will stop again sharing again. Is it visible to you? Because from my side it is not visible. Someone can help me?
No, sir. It's not visible.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Now it's visible. No voice, sir.
Okay. Now it is audible?
Yes, sir. It is audible, but not visible, sir.
No, okay. Now it is visible, sir? Visible?
No, sir.
Okay.
Only
Just
participant list.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So before going for that, I just want to take some time where I can highlight some points with respect to the blockchain's role in the field of banking system. So blockchain technology provide a way for untrusted parties to come to an agreement on the state of a database that we are having without using a middleman. As we know that we are having a banking system where we are going to perform some kind of transactions. Okay, so that transaction is going to be done in between the trusted parties, two trusted parties, and whenever they deal with the transactions, they have to think about some kind of agreements. Okay, so by providing a ledger that nobody administers, or blockchain could provide a specific financial services. Okay, so whatever the customers that we are having who is going to use your banking services. Okay, so by providing a ledger, a blockchain could provide a specific financial services related with the banking system. Like, as we know that we are having a different types of financial services, like we can perform different types of payments, or whenever we deal with the payments, we did not want a middleman, okay, like a bank. Okay, so whenever we do the transactions in between the sender and the receiver, your bank is act as the intermediator. Okay, so we want a middleman as a bank, but don't want a intruder who is going to hack your data. Okay, so further, this blockchain allows for the use of tool like smart contracts. So to avoid such kind of problems, we already having one concept, that is smart contract, which will potentially automate the manual processes from compliance and claims the processing to distributing the content of a will. So what is smart contract? How smart contract is going to be work in the blockchain technology? We already had a discussion on that in the previous session. So for use cases that don't need a high degree of decentralization, but could benefit from better coordinations. Okay, so the blockchain's cousin, we can say distributed ledger technology, DLT, is nothing but it is going to be considered as a cousin of a blockchain, which could help to cooperate and establish the better governance, and it can provide the standards around the data sharing and the collaboration. So whatever the activities that is going to be done using the banking system, so what we are expecting that all these transactions are going to be done in a smoothly way, and your data is going to be safe. Okay, so what are the different financial services is going to be provided by the banking system? The first services I'm discussing about, that is payment. Okay, so how we can do the payment? By establishing a decentralized ledger for payment. If I'm going to talk about the example of Bitcoin, blockchain technology could facilitate the faster payment at lower fees than a bank. Okay, then the second services, I'm going to talk about the clearance and the settlement of the systems. So whatever the distributed ledger that we are having, this distributed ledger can reduce the operational cost and bring us closer to the real-time transactions between the financial institutions that we are having. The third services of banking systems I am talking about is related with the fundraising. So initial coin offerings, that is ICOs, are expecting with a new model of financing, where they can, I can say that a new model of financing that unbundles access to capital from traditional capital raising services and the firms. So if you want to generate any fundraising from the different types of different types of companies, then you can take the help of these services from the banking system. Another services of we are getting from the banking is nothing but related with the security. That is one of the most important aspects of any banking system. So by tokenizing the traditional securities like stocks, as we know that we are having some stock and bonds and alternative assets that we are having. So all these assets like stock, bonds, we are going to place them on a public blockchain. So what this blockchain can do, blockchain technology could create more efficient interoperable capital markets, so that their data is going to be secured and it is going to be accessed by only trusted parties only inside the network. If I am going to talk about the loans and credit, by removing the need for gatekeepers in the loan and credit industry, this blockchain technology can make it more secure to borrow money and provide at a lower interest for the different users that we are having. Then trade finance, by replacing the cumbersome of paper heavily bills of a lending process in the trade finance industry. What is the role of this blockchain? This blockchain technology can create more transparencies, securities and trust among the trade parties that we are having. Okay, so basically if I'm going to talk about the business network, market and wealth, all these terms, if you closely observe this diagram on the right hand side, we say that we are having a different branch, okay, and we are having a single banking system. Okay, each and every customer is associated with this bank and they can do their transactions. Okay, so how these blockchain technologies have came into the picture? So before directly going on to that, I'm just explaining, so I will take some time what business network is all about, and then what is markets and what is wealth. Okay, so what is business network? I can say networking is a socio-economic business activity by which business people and whatever the entrepreneurs that we are having in the industries or related with the industries, they can meet to form a business relationships among all the network or among all the businessmen, and they can recognize, create or act upon the business opportunities. Whatever the business opportunities that they are having, they are going to share the information across the network, and then can they seek the potential partners from the ventures. Okay, so I can say whatever the business that is going to be done by any person, is that business is not going to be done in an isolation. Okay, so if you want to perform or if you want to create a business network, what exactly you have to do? You have to connect it to the customers. You have to create the relationships and links in between the with the different types of suppliers that you are having. You need the link with your banks. Okay, so by this way, if you are going to be connected with different customers, you need some suppliers, you require the support of this banking system, then and then only you are able to establish your business network. Okay, unless and until you don't have any business network, you are not able to generate any type of wealth. Okay, so how you can create the network? Whatever the network that is going to be generated among all the businessmen, this network can going to be networking is going to be established among the some regularity body that we are having. So if you want to create a network, suppose I want to establish a network in between all the faculties of the computer science and engineering department. So how I can create the network? I am going to identify the different faculties from every colleges in my region, and I'm going to add them. Okay, but whenever I'm going to create the network, I have to think about only one parameter, and that is nothing but we have to create a network which is only useful for we have to add those person inside the business network which is going to be useful for us only. Okay, so that is the place where there is a need to generate the business network. Okay, then next concept that we discuss about the wealth. So why there's a need to generate the business network? Because by using this business network, we are going to share our information, and then we can generate something. We are going to generate some value. So what wealth is all about? Wealth is nothing but it is the sum total of values of good. So whatever the good that is going to be sold by using this business network, we are going to earn something, and then we are also getting some kind of services from across the business network. So whatever the different types of services that we are having, and then whatever the value that we are going to generate it with the help of these goods, so that going to be coined as a wealth. Okay, so and last we are going to talk about the flow of good. So another terms that is related with the market is nothing but flow of good. So the flow goods and the services across the business network is nothing but a market. So whatever the business network that is going to be created by all the businessmen, what they do with that business network, they are going to do some kind of transactions. Okay, so whenever they deal with the transaction, at that time they require one bank who is going to be considered as a mediator in between the two customers. Okay, so what type of commodities we are having? We are having a commodity in the form of open market or a closed market. So which market is going to be considered as an open market? Here I'm going to take the example of fruit market or some kind of commodities which are going to be considered as an outcry. This is going to be considered as an open market. And if I'm going to talk about the close, where supply chain management, or if you are having a financing bonds, or if you want to sell some goods on the online, so I can say it is going to be considered as a closed network for a specific person. So once we create our business network by taking the help of one of whenever you deal with the transactions, you need one bank. Okay, so after that, how we can transferring the assets and how we can building the value of those. So what is the meaning of this transferring assets? You should understand first. So transferring asset, I can say it is one of the legal process that can handle the community asset transfers of ownership of a building to a neighborhood. Okay, or it can led by the community organization in the locality. So that is the need of this transferring asset. So again, I will repeat what is the role of, this transferring asset is nothing but it is going to be legal process that is going to be handled by the community asset transfer of ownership of a building to a neighborhood or a community led organization in the locality. So these buildings or land are generally underutilized or empty, but have significant potential community benefit if owned and managed correctly. So anything that is capable of being owned or controlled to produce a value is going to be considered as an asset. So if you want to earn something from a specific thing, at that thing from where you can get some value, that thing is going to be considered as an asset. Okay, so whatever the capability that you are having, whatever, if you are capable of buying a car, or if you want to control any type of production value, all these things are going to be considered as an asset for you. Now, why we discuss about this asset? Because whenever we go with the banking systems, at that time, each and everything which is associated with the cost are going to be considered as a financial services for the banking system, whether they can get money or whether they are giving money to the customer, okay, or they are going to transfer the money. So that time, how the money is going to be generated? The money is going to be generated with the help of some kind of assets. So what type of assets that you are having, that we have to focus on, whether the assets are going to be part as a tangible assets or intangible assets. Okay, so whatever the assets that we are having, at the end of the day, whatever the value that is going to be earned from the assets, that is going to be converted into the cash. So I can say that as a part of a banking system, cash is a part of asset, or cash is also going to be considered as an asset. So I will take some time on tangible asset and intangible asset. So tangible assets are physical. They physical asset, tangible assets consist of cash, inventory, or a different number of vehicles. If you are having any equipments, or whatever the buildings that we are having, or whatever the physical thing that we are having, it is going to be part as a tangible asset. Which things are going to be part of an intangible asset? Intangible assets do not exist in physical form, okay, and include the things like accounts receivable, prepaid expenses, patents, and goodwill are the part of intangible assets. So here are the example: cars, value clothes, those who are physical, they are going to be part as a tangible asset. Bonds, security, repurchase agreements are going to be part as a intangible assets. So whatever the assets that we are having, we are going to differentiate those assets as a part of tangible and intangible assets. Okay, so we already talk about business network, market, and wealth. Now we are going to convert those assets in the form of building value. That is nothing but we are dealing with the tangible and intangible assets. Now we are going to talk about the transaction and smart contract. Basically, we already had a discussion in the previous session that whenever we deal with the blockchain technology, we have to think about the smart contract. Okay, because you have to put some kind of rules and regulations, you have to follow some kind of protocol. Okay, and then only you are able to do something. That's why what is participants, what are transactions, and what are the contracts that we have to think of whenever we deal with the banking system. So again, these participants, transaction, and contracts are the part of financial services or services which is going to be provided by the banks to you. Okay, so what is this participant? So I can say that the participant is nothing but it is one of the member of a business network. We already create a network which consists of a different number of nodes, and all these nodes are going to be considered as a businessman. Okay, so whatever the participants that we are having, okay, so it is one of the member of the business network. So whatever the business network that we are having, one of the member is going to be considered as a participant. So whom we consider as a participant inside the business network? Customer can treat it as a participant, supplier is treated as a participant, government, regulators. Okay, so usually whatever the organizations that we are having, whatever the persons that we are having who is going to be reside in an organization is going to be considered as a participant, whether it is a single participant or a group of participants, it depends on you. Okay, so whatever the participants that we are having in a group of network or in a business network, each and every person is having their own specific identities, and it can perform a assigned role which is given by the manager, I can say. Okay, so whatever the different number of participants that we are having, each participant is having their own identity and they are going to perform some kind of roles. So that is all about the participants that we are having. Then transaction. Okay, one of the most important concept when we deal with the banking system is nothing but your transactions. So what is the meaning of these transactions? As you know that we are having a different types of assets. At the end of the day, whatever the assets that we are having, that asset is going to be converted in the form of cash. Okay, so I can say that a transaction is an asset transfer between two or more participants. Okay, so whenever we do the transaction, as far as you are aware about the concept of data communication, we are having one sender and receiver. So whatever the packet that is going to be sent by the sender, it is going to be received by the receiver at their end. Okay, and then he is going to send the acknowledgement that I can get the packet. So it is a type of transaction. In similar way, whenever we deal with the banking systems, okay, at that time we are going to perform some kind of transaction in between the two parties. Okay, so what type of transactions we are able to do? some transactions are going to be part of a simple transaction. It means that, suppose I will take an example. Suppose I am having one car, okay, and that car I am giving this car to the Anthony, okay. So I can say John gives a car to Anthony. It is one of the simple asset or simple type of transaction is because only two persons are going to be involved in those in this type of transaction. So that is going to be considered as a simple transaction. Next type of transactions that we are having is nothing but more complex transactions. So what is the meaning of this more complex transaction? John gives a car to Anthony. That is one of the simple transaction, but Anthony gives money to John. It is going to be considered as a more complex because up till now in a simple transaction it is going to be considered as a one-way process. Now in complex transaction it is going to be considered as a two-way process. Okay, so that transaction is going to be part as a single. It depends on the nature of the transactions, or it depends on the user what type of transaction he wants to perform. Okay, so this type of transactions we are having, that is simple and more complex transactions that we have. Then we are having a set of contracts. Okay, so what is the meaning of contract? I can say a contract is nothing but is a set of conditions under which the transactions are going to be occur. So whenever we perform any type of transaction in between the parties, whether it is a simple or a more complex transaction, at that time we have to think about the contract. So what this contract is all about, we have to provide, or we have to we have to confirm that whatever the transactions are going to be done, that transactions are going to be done under some circumstances by applying some kinds of, or under we can say some rules and regulations. Okay, so I will take an example. If Anthony pays John money, then car passes from John to Anthony. It means that if you want to perform a transaction, that is if Anthony paying the amount to John, then John can sell the car to the Anthony. It is going to be considered as a simple contract. Now what is going to be considered as a complex contract? If car won't start, then we are now, let's see what happened in the first case. Anthony pays amount to John, and in reply to that John passes the car to the Anthony. That is the simple type of transaction. But now we have to provide some contract, so that if any type of problems occur in the future, we have that proof that we are having such kind of contract. If car won't start, the funds do not pass to the John. So that is one of the contract that we are having. So as decided by the independent third party arbiter will require, so that the contracts are going to be done in a proper way. So how these blockchains came into the picture for all these activities, that is very important for all of us to know, because up till now we discuss about the business network. Sir, you talk about markets and wealth, then you are talking about the assets, building values, and now rightly said you are talking about the transaction and contract. So if you closely observe that is transaction, contracts, and business network, the picture is similar to the blockchain technology, where we can say that we are having different number of nodes, we are having one smart contract, we are having one proof of work, then we can transfer the block once we request the block when we creating the new block. So all these terms are going to be related with the blockchain. Okay, so how this blockchain came into the picture? So I can say that blockchain in a nutshell. Okay, so why we create this structure? Because with the help of this structure we can come to know that the blockchain is having a broader participation whenever we deal with any type of banking systems, or whenever we deal with the banking systems for using the financial services at very low cost, and the efficiency is also very good. Okay, so what is the role of this blockchain? Blockchain technology is a driving innovation, as we already know that blockchain is an innovative step which come into the market, and it can scale up in the energy. Most of the applications that we're in, that is energy, climate, and environment sectors, are using the concept of blockchain. So blockchain is a technical term that is going to be used to describe a new form of a distributed ledger of trusted transaction. So as we know that whenever we deal with the blockchain technology, we have to think about the distributed ledger to perform the trusted transactions that are going to be considered. I'm going to consider this transaction as a part of the database. Okay, so the blockchain records all the transaction information. Okay, so we are having one shared ledger. I will explain this. As you know that we are having one shared ledger, we are having one cryptography, then we are having consensus, and then we are having shared contract. Okay, so what is the role of the shared ledger? The shared ledger are going to be considered as a consisting of different types of records that are going to be considered as a block, and this ledger is going to be used to record the transaction across many computer networks many computers that we are having in a network. For that purpose, we are having shared ledger. Then we are having consensus. Again, it is nothing but a set of rules and the arrangement to carry out the different operations on the blockchain. Then we are having a shared contract. We already talked about we have to perform or we have to mention some kind of rules and regulations whenever we deal with the transactions. And then we are having one cryptography, which is going to be used to provide the security to each and every block. So whatever the different number of blocks that we are having, okay. So if you want to provide the security, improved security to your block, we require the help of this cryptography. Okay. So shared ledger append only system of record shared across the business network. As we know that we are, if we are dealing with the blockchain technology, we are having one distributed network. It means that whatever the record that we are having, that record is going to be shared across all the business network that we are having. Okay. Once the information related to specific block is going to be shared among all the nodes which is available in a network, then we have to think about the cryptography. Okay. So whatever the block that is going to be circulated inside the network, whether that block is a validated block or not. Okay. Again, miners came into the picture in that case. Okay. So if it is valid, then we have to ensure the security of that block. Okay, how we can ensure that the block is secure or not? By getting the authenticity from the miners. Okay, so this cryptography are going to be considered, or it is going to be used for ensuring the secure, authenticated and verifiable transactions that we are having. Okay, so once you get the shared ledger, once you get the cryptography, once you get the consensus, I can say, where whatever the different number of parties that we are having in a network, or they are working in a network, they have to agree on a specific verified transactions. For that purpose, we are having one consensus, and then lastly we require the help of this shared contract. So by combining all these features, that is shared ledger or a cryptography and then consensus and the smart contract, we are going to generate the structure of a blockchain, which is going to be helpful for the banking systems in the upcoming scenarios. Okay, so shared contracts are business terms are embedded in a transaction database, and it is going to be executed with the transactions. So the blockchain records all the transaction information. When two users agree to complete a transaction among themselves, whatever the customers that we are having or whatever the users that we are having, they are available in the peer-to-peer systems. So with this blockchain, digital value is going to be exchanged. So if you want to exchange the values in between the users, you have to exchange the value in the form of digital value. So this value is nothing but it is going to be part as an asset. So this value is understood in very broad sense, starting with currencies over a real estate contract. You have to think about whether the asset is a tangible asset or intangible asset. Okay. So if you want to identify the value, this value is going to be understood in a very broad sense, starting with currencies over a real estate, or I can say piece of art or different types of services, identity or supply chain tracking up to property rights. So all these factors are going to be considered if you are dealing with the blockchain digital values. Whenever you are going to exchange the blockchain digital values, all these terms are going to become into the picture. Okay, so I can say that since the birth of a blockchain in the year of around I think in 2008 or 2010, the technology has evolved on both the technological side and changes in functionality. Okay, so whatever the different changes and technology side that we are having three distinct phases of this blockchain. So we are having blockchain 1.0, blockchain 2.0 and blockchain 3.0. So these are the various phases of the blockchain from 2008 to till date. So what this blockchain 1.0 refers? So the blockchain 1.0 refers the use of cryptocurrencies. Earlier, when we talk about the blockchain, only people come to know that only Bitcoin. The word came into their mind first. The first word came to the mind is nothing but Bitcoin. Blockchain 2.0 introduced the concept of smart contracts. We are using the Ethereum network, okay, to provide or to circulate the smart contracts. So in blockchain 2.0, smart contracts came into the picture. And at lastly, that is finally at blockchain 3.0, it can describe the application of the technology that is to cover all those possible values that is going to be exchanged beyond financial market in the different types of areas of government, I can say cultural or science. So whatever the transactions that we are having, okay, so that transactions can be transfer of digital tokens, and that digital tokens are going to be represented in the form of currencies or any information or even the assignment of the library book ID. Because whatever the information that we are having, that informations are going to be, information changes are going to be verified, and immutably they are going to be recorded across a network. Okay, so whatever the transactions that are going to be done in the network, all these transactions are going to be recorded across the network if you are dealing with the banking system. And whatever the record that we are having, that record cannot be changed or it cannot be altered by the third party. So whatever the transactions that we are having in the banking systems under the umbrella of the blockchain, all the transactions are transparent, and all the transactions are going to be monitored by anyone using a blockchain explorer. Because of the as we know that because of the nature of the blockchain technology, that is distributed nature, blockchain can reduce the transaction cost and time. More importantly, if I want to talk about the blockchain technology, it is going to be poised to revolutionize the exchange of values. It can also replacing the need for trusted intermediaries such as bank, and it can also useful for exchange the currencies in between the parties. Okay, that's why we can say that blockchain in a nutshell is also having a broader participation by having a lower cost, and it can also increase the efficiency that we are having. Now we are talking about the, up till now we only talk about the distributed ledger. Now we are going to talk about the components of the distributed ledger. So what are the components of the distributed ledger that we are having? As we know that there are four important components of the distributed ledger, that is independent permission blockchain, distributed virtual machine blockchain, virtual machines, we can call it as a Turing complete. Then we require the smart contracts, and then we have a network achieved to settlement the finality. So independent permission blockchain is nothing but whenever we create the new block, whenever we deal with the transaction in banking systems, we have to think about the permissions, and that permissions is going to be provided by the miners by performing some kind of verification process or after getting the proof of work. If I'm going to talk about the distributed virtual machine, okay, as we know that we are dealing with the distributed ledger where all the networks are going to be distributed around the different number of nodes. Okay, that's why we talk it as a distributed virtual machine. If I'm going to talk about the smart contracts are nothing but we have to set some kind of conditions so that the transactions are going to be done in a proper manner under some rules and regulations, so that the things are going to be happen or going on smoothly. And then we have to think about the network achievement, whether the settlements, whatever the transactions that are going to be done in between the party, that are going to be done in a proper way or not. Okay, so what exactly distributed ledger? I can say that this distributed ledger is nothing but it is a database that is consensually shared and synchronized across multiple sites, institutions, or geographics, and it is going to be accessible by multiple people. Okay, that's why we can call it as a distributed ledger. It allows transactions to have as we know that we are having two types of transactions, that is public and private. So it allows transactions to have public witness. The participant at each node of the network can access the recording that is going to be shared across the specific network, and can also own the identical copy of it. So whatever the participants that we are having, or whatever the transactions are going to be done, everyone is having their own identical copy. Any changes or addition made to that ledgers, if anyone wants to make any type of changes in that ledger, it is going to be reflected, and it is going to be copied to all the participants in a matter of a second or made. As we know that we are talking about transparency. If you are dealing with the blockchain, you have to think about the transparency. Okay, so underlying the distributed ledger, it is one of the same technology that is going to be used by the blockchain, which is the technology that is going. This same type of technology is also used by the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is going to be considered as a distributed ledger by the Bitcoin. Permissionless blockchain. Why it is going to be called as a permissionless blockchain? Because or permission blockchain, it can allow anybody to create an address, and it also can begin the interacting with the blockchain network. whatever the networks that we are having inside the blockchain, the internet is one of the good example of the permission systems where anyone can create a website of their choice. In a similar way, with this type of blockchain, any person, thing, or whatever the entities that we are having in a network, they can interact with each other or with other members in a group or other parties in a network by creating an address on the network. Okay, so each party can choose to run a node for the blockchain, and they can participate in the transaction verification process by performing some mining mechanism. They also has having an ability to create some smart contracts on the network. Okay, so that is one of the ethos of the Bitcoin, and for that purpose we are going to use the Ethereum blockchain network. So this network employ a cryptographic economic model that is going to be driven by, as we know that whenever we deal with the transaction, we require the help of this proof of work. Okay, so that intensive people can run the different number of network nodes. All network participants are duly rewarded for their contributions through the tokens. Okay, that's why there is going to be considered as a permission blockchain. If I am going to talk about the distributed virtual machine, whatever the transactions that we are having, the transactions are inside our blockchain blocks are known as events. So whatever the transactions are going to be done in a blockchain blocks are going to be considered as an event in distributed simulations. Since our distributed virtual machine simulator, we are called it as DVMS, distributed virtual machine simulators. We call blockchains to simulate the financial game within them. We had our own distributed virtual machines that can archive the series of timestamp, which is going to be ordered and cryptographically sign the events. So whatever the events that is going to be created using this concept, all these events are going to be signed properly so that it is going to be authenticated by the next block. Okay, so that archive exists for this type of archives exist for only for public auditing purposes, and also we are having a proof that is going to be used for DVMS perfectly. That is going to be called as a smart contracts distributed ledger. So now we will talk about how blockchain is going to be used for different types of financial services that is going to be provided by the banking system. So why there is a need of blockchain in financial services? So as we already talked about from last 2 hours that blockchain is going to be considered as a emerging technology pattern. Okay, this technology is very well adapted by the banking system to improve the banking services. This technology is also used in the supply chain and other transaction network by giving them a new opportunities for innovation and growth while reducing the cost and risk. So as we know that whenever we deal with any type of transactions, the two types we have to think about the risk as well as we have to think about the cost. Okay, so these two parameters are very important whenever we deal with the transactions. Okay, so to provide or to reduce the cost or to reduce the risk of transactions, okay, this blockchain can provide a very good facility whenever a user can do any type of transactions. Okay, so as you see in the example, we are having block number 17, 18 and 19. Okay, so the transactions are going to be done in a very effective manner, and all these blocks are going to be connected or linked together with each other with the help of some kind of chain. So whenever we deal with the transactions, we have to think about the secure and trusted record keeping. So whatever the transactions that are going to be done, all these transactions are going to be done very securely, and whatever the parties that we are having, whether the records are going to be stored in a proper manner or record keeping is trusted or not, for that purpose we can believe on blockchain technology. So by design, no one party can modify the data, no one can delete the data, no one can append any record to the ledger without the permission of any type of miners that we are having. So making the system useful for ensuring that we already know that we are already talk about the different types of features of blockchain technology in terms of immutability of the transactions. Then we have to think about the contracts and other legal documents. Okay, that's why the blockchain came into the picture whenever we talk about the financial services. So what transaction is all about? As we know that transactions are nothing but it is one of the network participants, okay, that describe changes in the asset control. It is a part of contract. Then we are having one block, and then we are having one blockchain. So whatever the economic transactions that we are having on a distributed ledger, it can be programmed to record virtually anything of value. As we know that whenever we're doing the assets, whenever we deal with the transactions, we are having some values. So your identity, a will, or you are having any deed or any type of license that we are having, all these terms are going to be considered as a part of financial instrument. So how seriously should we take this? Okay, I will take it seriously as we should have taken the concept of the internet in the 1990s. This word is going to be coded by the Blythe Masters DAH. Okay, so why? This is how blockchain came into the picture. As we know that we have to think about to reduce the cost and reduce the risk. That's why there are two types of diagrams we are having in front of you. Okay, the first diagram you can observe that there is one blockchain technology which can offer a way for market participants to access the different number of assets from we can say it is going to be considered as a dematerialized assets directly without always going through the other participant needlessly. It means that if you want to do any type of transactions using the blockchain technology, okay, so you do not need to think about anyone. You can directly do the transactions without the involvement of any participants needlessly. Okay, so this centralized repository system, today's systems, I can say that most participants are disconnected from their asset because the depository is present at another side and all the participants are available on the another side. Okay, so it can create lots of problems and this process is very inefficient. That's why we can say that this centralized repository system, as we know that we are having one user, there are 3 participants and we are having one depository. So if you want to perform or if you want to deposit something, you have to pass through different number of participants that we are having. Okay, so this is one of the as I can say that as number of participants are going to be involved more, so it can, I can say, or some people can thought that it can create the chances of risk. Okay, so most of the participants are disconnected from their assets or depository. They are going to settle their transactions. They can also require some participants to collaborate in a flow, and such if you are dealing with such kind of system, that system is very slow, inefficient. It is very expensive in terms of time as well as in terms of cost. So to overcome some kind of problems which is related with the inefficient and expensivity, we are going for the next type of system, that is shared repository. Now we are from last previously whenever we deal with these systems, such type of banking systems, we are dealing with the centralized repository. Now from last few years we are dealing with the shared repositories that we are having. So whatever the participants that we are having, all the participants are can interact with depository directly, okay, without involving the third parties, and you can potentially make some post-trade operations cheaper and faster. So as you know that we are having different type of custodian bank, we are having CCP, then we are having one trade repository, we are having trading platform. So all these terms, if you want to perform any type of or if they want to perform any type of transactions, they directly connected to the depository, which is going to be asset dematerialized on a shared ledger. So by using such type of system, it can reduce the cost and it can reduce the complexity. Okay, so it is going to be considered as a cheaper and a faster. So what are the different things where we can say that this financial industry application is best suited for the blockchain? So these are the some applications where I can say that this blockchain is very effective in terms of financial services, which is going to be provided by different types of banks. So I categorize this application in 2 parts, that is financial instruments as well as the stack of processes. Financial instruments are nothing but whatever the transactions that are going to be done, okay, by using any type of assets are going to be considered as a financial instruments. And stack of process are nothing but whenever we do any type of transactions, at that time we have to follow some kind of steps, we have to follow some kind of contracts, or we have to think about the different number of process. Okay, so that are going to be considered as a stack of process. So basically financial instrument, the more suited applications are nothing but related with the payment. So whether you are going to do the payment in India, in between the person who is living in India or across the border that you are having. So for that purpose, you are having a peer-to-peer network, or you require a connectivity in between the interbank. If I am going to talk about the private equity is an alternative investment class and consists of capital that is not listed on a public exchange. So private equity is composed of funds and investors that directly invest in private companies. So where I can say it is going to be considered as a financial instrument in terms of blockchain. If I'm going to talk about the bonds, so you already talked about the bonds, or you are already aware about the bonds. Now if I'm going to talk about the derivative commodities, These commodity derivatives are investment tools that allows the different investors to profit from certain commodities without possessing them. So the buyer of derivatives can contract the buyers, they can contract buyers the right to exchange the commodity for a certain price at a future date. So these are the some examples where I am going to talk about the spending records or microfinance or servicing the records. On the right hand side, we are having some stack up process where we have to clearing the network. If we can say that there are some problems in a network, how we can clear that? Again, you have to think about the blockchain process. International transfers, if you are going to transfer your bank from which is one bank is located in India and you want to transfer the amount which is available at Canada or located in Canada, how we can do that? Okay, so these are the stack of processes that we are having which are associated with the financial industries, and this type of applications are very well suited for the blockchain. So what is the blockchain for financial market? This diagram is very important to understand. So blockchain for financial markets. Blockchain can streamline the banking and lending services, reducing the counterpart risk, and also it can decreasing the issuance and settlement time. So by using this blockchain for financial market, we can decrease the issuance as well as settlement times. It can also allows the authenticated documentation and KYC data. It can also reduce the operational risk, and it can also enable the real-time verification of financial documents. So how this blockchain are going to be work in the financial market? As we know that whenever we deal with the financial market, we have to think about the trading, we have to think about the clearing of the checks, we have to think about the settlement of the amount. So all these functions can be automated on a blockchain network using the smart contract and oracles. So as we know that whenever we go for the banking systems, or if you want to paid any amount, at that time we have to think about, if you put any check in the bank, you have to think about the clearing. If you are not able to clear your check, how you can settle? Okay, so all these terms are associated with the banking system. So this trading, clearing, and the settlement functions, all this can be automated. All these terms are going to be done using an automated system which is going to be provided by the blockchain network. And for providing this such kind of facility, we require the help of the smart contract. So as we know that we are having one market where we can do some kind of trading, or we are having some exchange applications that is going to be considered as a off-chain or on-chain. So what is this off-chain? I can say that this off-chain is nothing but blockchain-based cryptocurrency. Off-chain transaction refer to those which occurs outside of the blockchain itself and can be contrasted with on-chain transaction. This is all about the off-chain transactions, and these off-chain transactions can also work by swapping the private keys to an existing wallet instead of transferring the fund, or by using a third party or a coupon-based intercollator. So for that purpose, we are having one market. Then we are having one clearing and settlements where we have to see whatever the or in the banking system, whenever we go for a bank, we have to submit our slip. Okay, in a similar way, whatever the trading applications that we are having, they put their check or amount or assets in the transactions. Then in the on-chain, I am going to check whether the contracts are proper or not. Okay, and then it is going to be checked with our database. Okay, so in this way, blockchain is going to be came into the picture in terms of financial market. So what is the role of this market? These markets are generally used for trading. They can also useful for exchanging the applications. For that purpose, they are having one on-chain or off-chain. Okay, that is whatever the off-chain applications that we are having, they are also going to be considered as a centralized. But we have to think about the latency part, how much time, whether there is a time lagging or not. Then what is the role of this clearing and settlement? The final clearing of the checks or transactions or settlement of the financial assets, all these terms are going to be done automatically by using some smart contracts that we are having, that is already implemented whenever we create the blocks or whenever we start our transactions, and they have their own direct access to asset which is defining on a chain. So who can access the data? It is also important. So it is also going to be taken care by the miners, which block is going to be accessed by whom. Okay, so these rules and regulations and this smart contracts is already decided by the party. Then Oracle. As you know that oracles are going to be considered as one of the big databases that we are having. So these oracles are the off-chain services that is going to be integrated on the whatever the different contracts that we are having. So here in this case we can say that the blockchain for financial markets are going to be came into the picture. So depending on the method used of off-chain transactions may eventually have to record a on-chain. So now we have to think about the next parameter, that is how IBM company can use the blockchain technology or can use the cases of the blockchain technology in terms of financial services. So these are the some parameters where we have to discussing on whenever we deal with the blockchain for banking. The first thing we have to think about is a letter of credit. So what is the meaning of this letter of credit? As we know that whenever we go with any type of bank, so bank is having their own letter of credit for each and every client they have in their bank. So whatever the clients that I am having, for all the different types of clients that I am having, each and every client is having their own letter of credit. Okay, so for all such type of clients, I am going to generate a common ledger. Okay, and that common ledger is also useful for it's going to be used by all the parties which is going to be involved in a network. Okay, so that whatever the transactions are going to be done in between all these clients or all these participants, after fulfilling all the conditions, then and only we are going to perform some transactions. So to how we can increase the trust, we can increase this we can increase the trust in between all the clients who is the member of one of the bank. We are going to trust and speed the execution from. We require some time for the trust, or we need some time for the execution. Okay, if we are dealing with, then we if the all the steps are related with the letter of credits are going to be unsuccessful, then we can offer a innovative LOC solution for different number of clients that we are having, and then they can start their startups around a specific global level. That is one of the letter of credit we are having, and we can say that it is going to be considered as a letter of recommendation, I can say. Next part in the blockchain for banking is nothing but related with the corporate debit that we are having. As we know that each and every bank is having one person who is going to be handle the corporate debit. Okay, so for that purpose we need they need a blockchain based system for to pay a vendor invoices for my corporate client immediately and win the highest net discount, while immediately letting my client validate that the invoice was executed and the money paid. As we know that whenever the customers are doing some kind of transaction, most of the time some banks can give you some kind of what we can say discounted offer or in this way. Okay, sometimes it may be possible that if you are not able to pay your loan for last 5 years, if you are not paying any loan, so we can having some kind of services by virtue of which we can identify the midway and then you can pay your loan. Okay, so for all these steps are going to be done automatically. There is no need of doing the what we can say paperwork. Okay, all these things are going to be done through the automation, and for that purpose we can take the help of this blockchain. Sorry. Then we have to think about the repurchase agreements. Sometimes, most of the time, it is happen that whenever we purchase something at that time from a if we are doing some kind of bid in a market and ask so that I can discover or I can generate some kind of trade or I can execute some kind of agreement. So if after the successful completion of all these stuffs, if I can say that there is no, I don't want any other issues. Okay, all these issues are going to be sorted automatically. How it can be done? It is going to be done with the help of this blockchain, where I don't want to have any subject to the string or counterparties for existing the control over the market. So whatever the market risk that we are having, all these stuffs are going to be handled with the help of this blockchain using the bank in the banking system. Again, one more stuff that we are having, that is supply chain, where we are having end-to-end B2B contracts. Okay, where whatever the contract that we are having, which is going to be shared in a network with the or in between the different number of suppliers, there we are having their own agreement, so that they are going to validate the different number of blocks, or they are going to validate the transactions, and then all these transactions or all these contracts are going to be executed automatically in between all the whatever the different number of suppliers that we are having, who is going to be working in a networking system that we are having. Then there are some blockchain consortia that we are having, that is which is related with the security services or whatever the capital markets that we are having, or if you are dealing with the trade finance or card operations. So how these blockchains are came into the picture in terms of security settlement. Okay, so once your financial assets are going to be shared in a shared ledger, so whatever the different stakeholders that we are having, who is the part of the business network. Okay, so they can have their own share, they can access their own share, and then they can settle their trades. Okay, so there is no need of any intermediator to can handle all these stuffs. Okay, so all these stuffs is going to be done automatically. Sometimes these security services are related with the post-trade operations. Okay, once you complete your trade, okay, your trade is going to be captured. You need some kind of confirmation or affirmation, or if you want to clear any settlements, all these terms can be done automatically by using one distributed share ledger. And for that purpose, again, we can take the help of this blockchain. For trade repository, if you want to deposit any record, or if you want to collect any order collections of the different number of transactions that we are having in a business network, all the trade repositories are going to be done in a banking system using the blockchain. It is going to be useful for recording the different number of assets. It is also useful for exchanging the assets that we are having. Why we use that? Because it is useful for reducing the time for the trade repository as well as for record keeping. Then in capital market, trade finance and card operation, we can use this blockchain technology as a services. In trade finance, for cross currency payment, if you want to perform some intra-country payment, where if you want to transfer the amount from India to the Canada, so such kind of trade finance, you require one trusted party. So that trust is also going to be provided by the blockchain. So automatically you are going to connecting the market makers, and then you are going to bypassing whatever the intermediaries that we are having, so that you can reduce the time taken for doing the transactions across the cross-currency payments from days to number of seconds that we are having. So in this way, we are dealing with the financial services in the field of financial services in the blockchain technology, financial services in the banking systems. Now we are talking about the blockchain in financial services ecosystems. So these are the various companies that we are having that are dealing with the different types of transactions. Some are doing tangible transactions and some are doing the intangible transactions. So this is one of the financial, I can say, financial technology landscape that we are having. Suppose if we are dealing with the digital and mobile payments, as we know that we are all doing the mobile payments by scanning the PhonePe QR code, and it is directly submitted into the account of the owner. So how it is possible? Again, it can take some kind of essence of the blockchain services where they are having some trusted parties. So these are the various companies like Braintree, Bitnet, Tipalti, SunUp, and LevelUp, Cashstar, Affirm. All these companies are using this concept of financial services in their own, so that they can complete their transactions. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, all are aware about the Bitcoin. If you want to buy anything, again, you are having some cross-platform financial transactions that we are having. It is going to be controlled with the help of these blockchain services. Capital markets and investing, most of the companies who are dealing with the, who is going to be deal with the sharing systems, who is going to buy the share of what we can say BSC or Nifty, I can say. If you want to investing in the shares, for that purpose, you can take the help of this. So these are the various companies, these are the various services, or these are the various services which is available, and it is going to be adopted by most of the companies. All these are very reputed companies. They are using this for the successful completion of the transactions. Because whenever you deal with all these stuffs, you have to go pass through the banking systems. Okay, so how banking system can trusted the user? How the transactions are going to be trusted? Whether the transactions are trusted or not, how banking systems come to know that? So how they come to know? They are going to take the help of this blockchain technology to understand this. So blockchain is going to be adopted by most of the companies from last few years. Okay, so this is one of the chart I will explain. I will take some few minutes on them, so they can understanding the disruptions of all these things. So in October 2013, that is Fidder Bank. Okay, so Fidder is one of the bank who is going to be work on the digital currency exchange. Okay, so in October 2013, the money transfer services is going to be started, and at May 2014, and BTC trading is going to be started by this Fidder Bank. So it is make the partnership in between the Kraken, Bitcoin, Dutchland, Ripple, and Bitcoin.de. So this is the Fidder Bank who is going to be adopted the concept of Bitcoin for exchanging the digital currencies. Then in June 2014, one more company, that is UHV Bank, it can started the research on blockchain with some specific interest which is related with the digital security. As we know that we all are using the digital wallet, so they can develop their own Kuber wallet which is one of the app-based color coins, which is going to be introduced in June 15. So it is having one partnership in between the Coinbase and the CoinFloor. Again, they can take the help of this blockchain. In September 2014, CDBW Bank, that is going to be considered as a cross-river bank, I can say. And most of the time, this bank is having a problem related with the payment risk management. For that purpose, they are using the blockchain technology. So their area of interest is around the risk management system. And why it is going to be risk management? Because they are going to do the transaction across the borders they are doing. Okay. Then after that, in December 2014, ING Bank, Rabobank, they are going to be use this blockchain. They are going to adopt the concept of the blockchain for a faster payment and to provide a better banking services. Okay, they are having some partnership in between the Rabobank partner with the Ripple Bank. In January 2015, one more company came into the picture who's adopted the blockchain, that is Compass, who is participated in the around 75 million series C funding from the Coinbase. And to provide the authenticity and security to all such kind of assets, they are taking the help of these blockchain services. In 2015 March, Barclays is one of the reputed company. They can use the services of the blockchain technology, as they are having their own accelerator program with Ceplo. They are having their own Atlas card. Okay, so they are want to test and check the banking services, whatever the blockchain platform they are having. So Barclays is one of the reputed company. So from March 2015 to July 2015, June 2015, like the companies like UBS, Standard, Wastec, ANZ, or if I'm going to talk about the BNP Paribas, Citibank, all these banks are start adopting the concept of the blockchain from 2015. So this is one of the various companies that we are having. They are going to, all these are the banking systems. They are going to take the help of these banking systems, or they can take the help of the blockchain, so that the transactions are going to be done in a secure way. So what are the investments are going to be done in a blockchain? So what are the interest in the blockchain? So by using the concept of the blockchain, it can reduce the cost of the infrastructure up to $20 billion per year. As we are dealing with the blockchain technology, as we know that we are transfer the money across the peer-to-peer network. So this peer-to-peer money transfer across international borders, which can segment worth around $500 billion. If you are talking about the VC firm, that is Anderson Horowitz, he has invented over $100 million blockchain technologies, so that everyone can use that, so that their transactions are going to be done in a secure way for different types of banking systems. So why blockchain is not ready for the business? So these are the two aspects of the blockchain related with the public network fabric and the private network fabric. So if you are dealing with the public, we already know that in blockchain we are dealing with the Ethereum network. So there are two options for building the private network. First is nothing but, first of all, we have to reconfigure a public network fabric for private use, and then second thing relative is nothing but we have to build on a top of untested private network fabric values. So these are the two problems, or these are the two features by virtue of which we can say that the blockchain is not ready for the business. As we are having one, if I'm going to talk about the business adoption challenge in the public network, we require one designated public network. Yes, currently we are having a very slow network and it is not efficient. We have to build in some currencies in that. Okay, so these are the various problems we are having if you want to adopt these business adoptions in the public network. If I am going to talk about the private network, currently it is very incomplete. It is not standardized. There are lack of critical enterprise features that we are having, so that it is very difficult most of the time to identify the management system that we are having. So what IBM help us currently to most of the banking systems. So IBM, what we bring and what we need to be done. So IBM is having one advisory capabilities, IBM is one of the company who is going to be explains what we need and what we bring for all the customers, so that they can deal with the, or for the different banking systems that we are having, so that they can deal with the or they can use the financial services of the banking systems. So these are the various fields. So they are also IBM provide the domain expertise in the financial services for the supply chain. They also having their own business rules, for that each and every bank is having their own business rules for their processing. Okay, so such kind of activities are going to be done by the banking IBM. Okay, what they need, they can need some identity, or they need some certificates. Why there is a need of this identity and certificates? As we know that in order to transact on the blockchain, without exposing the strategic information to other, we require the one identity, or we require some digital certificates which is going to be required for the party identity, so that it is going to be transferred whenever we do the transaction in between the parties. So this requires a sophisticated identity management which IBM is researching and developing. So currently IBM is going to be research and developing one identity management concept which is going to be useful in the blockchain technology for the to implement the transparency in the systems. IBM also work in the field of cross network managed operation. How we can manage the cross network managed operations? Again, it is one of the challenge in front of the IBM company. So identity management is very useful in a similar way. A bank has to perform or a bank, whenever we deal with the transaction, each and every time a bank is required a one KYC on a merchant in one of the network. So this same merchant network is available in the network or not? Is there any there are two KYCs are available in the network or not? So for that purpose we require the help of this. There is, again, it is one of the part of research which is going to be taken by the IBM. So how we can take the backup? As we know that we are having lots of amount of data as we are dealing with the banking system. So how we can do the backups? These are the some financial industries, or we can say these are the different number of financial services where we have to take the backups. In terms of retail banking, in terms of investment banking, there are some market infrastructures that we are having, and these are the insurance. So these are the various services where we need to take the backup of each and everything, so that we can do this. So what are the different phases of blockchain innovations we are having in terms of banking and financial services? So you have to add some business value added services you have to add. So as we know that how we can add the business value in the blockchain. So we have to embed whatever the transactions that are going to be done, it is going to be included as a embedded transactions. For that purpose, you require one collateral network. You have to put some kind of conditional payments, so that how we can go with the conditional payment. For that purpose, you have to impose a proper smart contract in that system. If in terms of overlay services, whatever the exchange that is going to be done with the help of wallet or whatever the merchant services that we are having. So again, we can work on these overlay services. What are the pioneers? Bitcoin is one of the blockchain technology where you can go with the blockchain innovations. These are the blockchain potential applications and the disruption. Currently, the blockchain is radically changing the future of transaction based on the industries. Whatever the various applications that we are having in terms of, if I'm going to talk about the smart contracts, we have to think about digital right. If I'm going to talk about the digital currency, that is e-commerce, peer-to-peer lending, microfinance. If you are going to talk about the security, your equity, your private market, your derivatives, all this will require the securities. If you want to keep the record of each and everything in terms of healthcare, ownership, voting, intellectual property rights, all these things require the help of blockchain. Okay, so I can say that in the upcoming scenario, blockchain, not only data scientists, but also blockchain is one of the emerging field in the upcoming years. So this is the venture capital landscape that we are having, who is going to use the concept of blockchain and their investment in the by implementing this. So this is all about from my side. Hope I am able to explain the things to each and everything to all of you. If you have any question, you can ask me. Hello.
Participants, you have any queries? Thank you, Mahib, for your wonderful contribution towards our FDP continuously.
Thank you, Dr. Muthukumar sir, and I am also thankful to all the participants for their patience listening. I am very much thankful to Muthukumar sir, especially you and your team, for arranging such kind of nice workshops to all the participants for the upgradation of the knowledge in the field of blockchain technology.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
so,
sir.
I extend my gratitude, thanks to all of you, and best of luck to all the participants for their future, whatever the future aspects in the field of blockchain.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence.
Thank you, Mr. Mahip. Thank you for a good lecture. Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Participants, you have a feedback in the chat box. The afternoon session will be start at 2:45. So kindly join at 2:45. So 15 minutes late. Okay.
Sir, I have a question, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Sir, I want to know, like, is there any research challenges on the technology, not on the use case? I don't want to handle the use case. I want to focus on the technology, blockchain technology, like scalability issues or
You,
decentralized storage, storage
you
issue.
can go with that. As we know that in blockchain technology, we are going to talk about the distributed ledgers. Okay, and most of the time, each and every time, we have to think about the cryptographic hash function. So, as far as my point of view is going to be concerned, you can work on cryptographic hash functions which are associated with each and every block, and how miners can handle all these stuffs, how we can improve. Because at the end of the day, we have to think about the security parameters, we have to think about the efficiency of the systems. All these terms are going to be how we can reduce the timing. Timing is also one of the most important concepts. So how we can do all these stuffs with the specific thing, we can go with that. So these are the specific challenges we are having in the blockchain technology.
The storage capacity, like storage optimization.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah,
I
you
know
can
any
see
optimization?
how we can increase the storage capacity. That is also one of the challenges, because at the end of the day, whatever the information that you are having, all the informations are going to be stored in the form of records, and records are going
Yeah.
to be stored in the form of blocks. Okay, so how we can
Yes.
increase the storage capacity? Because sometimes
Yeah,
it
that's
may be
it. Right.
possible that is if you increase the storage capacity, it can require more time for processing of the data. Okay, so how we can optimize those parameters? That is one of the most. That is also one of the thing to
So
research.
about the Merkle tree, Merkle tree. So is
Merkle
there
tree
any data structure, any other advanced data structure than Merkle tree?
you can currently what happened, ma'am, in the field of blockchain technology, each and everyone is talking about the Merkle tree only, because it is one of the most efficient way to merge the
Yes.
different types of cryptographic hash functions that we are having, which are
Yeah.
associated with the different number of blocks. Because at the end of the day, you did not want to waste your much more amount of time in the merging of the hashing value. So I think Merkle tree is having a very good efficiency. That's why most
Raghav,
researchers are
இங்க
working.
வாங்க.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Sir, what is the basic mathematics are
Sound
needed
தெரியலா?
for the person who are new
காட்ராஜ் என்ன
want to
வேணாலும்
enter to
கேட்டாரா?
this field?
சொல்லிட்டு போயிரு.
There's a lot of disturbance, sir. Somebody else is.
Hello.
I'm not able to get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
ma'am. Deepa, I'm talking to Deepa ma'am or Sarla Devi ma'am.
Yeah, talking to Sarla. I'm Sarla here,
Hello.
sir. I was the one who asked about the Merkle tree. So now
Okay.
we are focusing on DAG, directed acyclic graph. So they're
Yeah.
trying, DAG is better than Merkle tree, than MAST, MAST. So I think there
Because
are a
what
lot of
happens, ma'am, if you are dealing with the direct cyclic graph, it may be possible that whenever you want to share your information, it can create. Because what happens if you want to generate the optimization, okay? If you optimize your nodes, and if some nodes are not able to be a part of that optimization, and that node is very important, then it can create the flaws in your systems. That's why we are dealing with the monthly update.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
I have got two queries, sir. If the
Yeah.
person is new in this field and willing to learn this block technology, mathematical model, what I should learn, sir, for basic mathematics needed to pursue this blockchain?
You require first, you have to know the simple networking concepts, how we can create the peer-to-peer network. That is the first important thing you do. Because what happen if you perform any type, if you want to create any project in the blockchain technology, unless and until you are not able to create any small network, you are not able to perform any actions, or you are not able to analyze anything. Okay, so the first thing you require is nothing but you should understand the working style of peer-to-peer network and how we can establish that. Then second thing you require that you have to identify the what we can say characteristics of peer-to-peer network, and then you can go with the block creations. How we can create the block, how we can generate the transactions. Again, in the previous sessions, we already had a discussion regarding the GitHub. So in GitHub, you can get all these stuffs ready-made. So you can just analyze those stuffs, and then you can start coding.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So
Sir,
can you please share
for
the
the
screen?
latency related application, is it the blockchain technology is feasible, sir? Because there are too many persons are there to transfer data, some latency related data. Is it possible to use this technology?
Currently, ma'am, most of the we already discussed right now in the my PPT is that most of the banking systems are going to be use this blockchain technology because of its transparency. Because anyone wants to make some kind of updations, it is directly going to be reflected to the other parties as well, who is involved in the network. And what if I'm going to talk about the latency? Latency is not an issue because whatever the, as we know that we are dealing with the decentralized network. We don't have any central person who is going to be monitor and manage all these stuffs. Okay, we are having a set of nodes who is going to be work inside the network. So I don't think so there is a problem of latency.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you. Sir.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So can you please share the PPT, sir?
Yeah, ma'am,
Your
not an issue.
presentation, can you
I
share
share with Dr. Muthu Kumar sir. He will share with all of you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Muthu Kumar sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie, sir. Thank
I
you
will.
so
I
much.
will. I will.
Yeah, you share the PPT, sir. I will post it.
I will share my WhatsApp number. If anybody is having any query after this, you can ask me. This is my WhatsApp number 8956. If you have any problem, you can also mail me at on this. Okay. If you want to learn more practical hands-on, you can ask me how to go with that. Okay.
Sure, sir.
I will
Sure,
put
sir.
my
We are
number
on
as
this,
well as my mail ID on the chat box. You can go with that. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Excuse me, sir. In your presentation, it would be nice if the last slide, if you can put your contact details. So when it is shared, we will be having it permanently written.
Okay. Okay. I will share my.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, for your wonderful presentation and discussion.
Is it visible, ma'am, now? Thank you, Muthu Kumar sir.
Yeah. Sir, you'll share the PPT now,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, that is not an issue, sir. Okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
Right, sir. We'll keep in touch. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Participants, kindly join the meeting at 2:45 instead of 2:30. Right, the session will start at 2:45.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So, feedback link in the chat box. Kindly fill the forms. It will be open up to 2:30. After that, feedback form will not be enabled. Okay. So, kindly fill the form. So, assemble at 2:45. Thank you. So, afternoon session will be Ethereum and Smart Contract by Professor Dr. N. Karthikeyan. Thank you.